Good evening. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Holy Blossom and this extraordinary evening of music and art, living memory. That's Holy Blossom's contribution to Holocaust Education Week. My name is Ellen Cole, and I am privileged to have been a member of Holy Blossom for most of my life. I serve on the board of directors, and I sing with Cantor Benny Meisner's Temple Singers. You can read most of the background for this evening in your program, but we are here to honor our beloved Cantor Benny Meisner and his more than 40 years of musical development with Holy Blossom. He has shared his vast knowledge of Jewish music and other music with us, and we have been engaged and uplifted. This multifaceted, multi-generational evening is a testament to the ability of music and art to preserve memory. So we have the Gates of Memory in visual art. This compilation of images and memories was curated by Eva Ormuth and Beth Rohr and includes the participation of Holy Blossom Religious School grades 4 to 7. As the program so aptly states, instead of gates and arches that led you into horror, our gates become an experience of resilience. You will also hear the Victory March from the opera Brundibar, as well as our own dear cantor and our guest curator, Maestro Francesco Lotoro. We are so privileged to have some of Toronto's finest musicians performing with us this evening. I would like to thank our sponsors, Marvin and Esther Tile and Mary Selden and family, for making this evening possible. I would also like to thank our two key partners, the Istituto di Letteratura Musicale Concentrazionaria, Maestro Lotoro's foundation, and Antonio Signoroni through his concert management I Concerti. John Freund, who is with us this evening, was in Theresian and auditioned for Brundibar. He was the guiding spirit for mounting Brundibar in Toronto in 1996. Some 15,000 children went through Theresian. John was one of the 150 who survived. John, can you stand? Just some housekeeping. You will note that there is a 3-minute pause after In Old Seville in your program. Please use it as a stretch break and not a leave your seat break. Once again, welcome to this evening's performance and tribute to Cantor Benny Meisner.
His days are numbered now. Darling little friends, our opera now ends. It's getting very late. You must go home, but wait. Don't say goodnight just yet. We'll send you on your way when we have sung once more our song for you today.
This is our victory, burning our praise no more. Let's hear the trumpet call, let's hear the drummer roll. His days are numbered now, yes indeed. We face him with no fear. We wear our beads alone, marching song on our lips as we sing happily. Friends will always be just like a family, and we will meet again. He who is our friend can always play with us.
The violinist Moshe Hammer and the cellist Igor Gefter will play Duo for violin and cello by Émile Gouet. Émile Gouet was a French composer, but he was also a professor on physics at the Lycée Louis le Grand of Paris. As a French lieutenant, he was captured from German troops, and after the armistice of Compiègne, he was transferred in the Oflag 10A Nibourg an der Weser. In this Oflag, a lot of famous French composers were transferred, also Louis Gordian. And Émile Gouet wrote several works, also a concert for piano and orchestra, prélude chorale et fugue for piano, prélude aria finale for piano, préhistoire, ambient d'Oxien suite for piano, thème et variation, a sextet for strings, and opera to be staged in 2 days, also Renaissance from Shakespeare and a strange work and combination between oratorio, mimo, and opera. He was liberated in May 45, so he came back in Paris, and he turned to teach physics. As a composer, he was a pupil of Coquelin and Russell. But 1 year after he was liberated, he died of tuberculosis for the infection disease of the camp. It was Karel Berman Terezin Suite. Karel Berman was born in Jindřichův Hradec, Czech Republic, Czechoslovakia at the time, in 1909. He was a bass pianist and composer. He was arrested when he was 19 years old, and he was previously sent in a forced labor camp in Česká Lípa, northern of Protectorate of Bohemia and Moravia, and eventually at Theresienstadt. In Theresienstadt, he wrote Poupata for baritone and piano, a festive march, and Terezin Suite, and also conducted a female choir and participated to several operas. He was sent to Auschwitz-Birkenau. He saved because when Dr. Mengele asked to him about his job, he replied to be a worker instead that a musician. He was sent to a Arbeiterkommando. He was eventually evacuated to Kaufering, and when he came back in Prague, he discovered that all his family was gassed in Birkenau. Only the sister of his grandmother survived. He became a great singer in Czech Republic and around. Now we listen 3 works written by Józef Kropinski. Złota jesień, that cantor Benny Meissner will sing, and the 2 pieces for violin and piano, Pies Beżłów and Dlaczego. Józef Kropinski was born in 2903 in Berlin. He was the son of a worker in a French-Polish railways. After the First World War, old family moved from Berlin to Biegłogłos, Poland. There he graduated in violin, piano, and choir conducting. At the beginning of the Second World War, as a Polish soldier, he was arrested and sent to a internment camp in Poland, but he escaped and joined to underground resistance. But he was again arrested as a resistant and sent to Auschwitz I Stammlager. There, as a gifted violinist, he became the first violin of Polish orchestra conducted by Franciszek Nieryku. But there he wrote 7 songs, including Złota Jesień in 42. But he was eventually transferred to Buchenwald with a lot of Polish deportees. And in Buchenwald, he was assigned to Abteilung Pathologie. There, during the night, he wrote several operas, quartets, piano works, operas, operettas, during the night. He wrote more than 440 works, but when Buchenwald was liberated by itself, deportees decided to move from Buchenwald to Dachau, so from Weimar to München. So he left a lot of these more than 400 operas, and unfortunately during the march it was very, very cold, so it burned a lot of these sheets. So only 117 works survived. After the war, he decided to stop musical activity, and because the socialist regime of Poland, he was forced to work in a great farm. He died after a heart attack in 70.
Pamiętam biło złota jezdni pełna czaru, jak wiśnonia snach. Wtedy ty przebyła niby, promień z nieba rożniania zmroki dnia. Pocie sercem wichrem teska potargane, bo życia trud. Rozpal serce ogniem szczecia i miłości, która tak ogarna chłód. Ach, rozpal ogniem po wszystkie dni.
Now we listen the violin solo sonata by Sándor Kuti. Sándor Kuti was born in Budapest, but he also the German name of Alexander Krauss. He was graduated in the Franz Liszt Academy of Music in Budapest in organ, composition, choir. He worked in a great organization in Budapest, a communist organization. He wrote also socialist choirs, but he also wrote songs for Purim and other Hebrew holidays. As a Jew, he was arrested later because Hungary was occupied later from German troops. He was sent in end of 44 in a forced labor camp in Germany, not yet identified. There he wrote in two big sheets the violin sonata. We also know about the year of end of the works and the dedication of the father of the works to his wife. He died in April 45. Today the manuscript is located in the Center of Hungarian Music of London. Now we listen a prayer, Abendlied, with Benny Meissner, written by Bertold Hummel. Bertold Hummel was born in Würzburg. At the beginning of the war, his family, his father, saved a lot of Jews, hiding them in his home. But at the end of the war, Bertold Hummel, as a German citizen, was forced to be enrolled in the Wehrmacht. So he was captured from French troops and sent in Depot 132, La Tranchée. There he wrote several operas, a scherzo for piano and tantum ergo for organ, a big 14 after a text of Charles Baudelaire, Abendlied, and so on. He escaped 4 times, and 4 times German troops captured again. But the 5th time he was lucky, so he, via Luxembourg, came back in Germany. He became a great composer.
Gott, weil Abend wird, gebe, dass kein Mensch dich verirrt. Gute Träume schenke mir dann, dass ich besser schlafen kann. Morgen schickt mir Sonnenschein, morgen wollen wir fröhlich sein. Lieber Gott, aus deinem Haus schauen viel kleine Sterne raus. Kleine Sterne, blank und rein, lass mich wie die Sterne sein. Gebe dem Englein einen Kuss, dass die Sterne putzen muss. Schick es mir dann auch zur Erde, dass ich immer froher werde.
Uvcel Chelofecha was written by two authors because David Grünfeld was a Ruthenian Jew. He was a tenor. He was deported in Theresienstadt. He participated to the stage of a lot of operas, included Victor Ullmann, Der Kaiser von Atlantis. He survived. He was sent to Auschwitz-Birkenau, but he survived. He emigrated in USA. He became the Chazan cantor of a great synagogue in Staten Island, and there he died. There are some recordings with him, with David Grünfeld, that sings with the name, American name of David Garen. He wrote only the melody of Ubezehil Chenofeka. This prayer is not written in the Italian minhag, only in Ashkenazi minhag, at the eve of Shabbat. And Zygmunt Schul wrote the accompaniment. Zygmunt Schul was born in Kassel, Germany. He was a pupil of Hindemith. After the Nuremberg laws 35, he escaped with his wife in Prague. There he studied with Victor Ullmann, with Fidelio Finke, and he archived all the Jewish Museum of Prague. He was arrested and sent to Theresienstadt. There he wrote Cantata Judaica, Opus 13, but we saved only the finale. Divertimento Ebraico for 8 strings, lost. He completed a fugue for piano from a sonata, we saved, and other little works included a tzaddik for strings. He died of tuberculosis in June 44. He hid his works in the folder of Victor Ullmann. So a lot of years after the war, when musicologists opened the folder of Victor Ullmann located in Goetheanum in Dornach, they discovered the works of Zygmunt Schul.
Vetzele che na fecha tasti reinu chi son reinu mazileinu ata chi melech chanun verachum ata ushemor etzeinu utoheinu lechayim ulshalom me'ata ve'ad olam.
William Isley, he was born in London. His mother was a Quaker. They divorced in 34, and the mother decided to move in Berlin. The mother was really a Jew. The Quaker was the religion of his husband, former husband. So when after the Nuremberg laws, they decided to move in the Netherlands, in Ommen. He was a pianist, a composer, so William Isley adopted the Dutch name of Willem Hildesheimer, and he became a professor of music in the Quaker School of Ommen. But after the Nazi occupation of the Netherlands, he was arrested because he was a British citizen. So he was sent to Amersfoort, and then in the Ilag of Tost, there he wrote a great work for two pianos. And after he was sent in Ilag of Kreuzburg, today Kuchborg, Poland. In this internment camp, he wrote 6 songs included in Old Seville, a fantasy of Provençal Christmas tale, a beautiful duo for viola and violin, also a mass, because the Catholic prisoners of Kreuzburg in the Christmas, waiting for Christmas 43, asked him to write a mass. So he wrote a mass, Missa in Fisto Nativitatis, for male choir and other incidental music. IMCA, the great Christian organization, humanitarian organization, with the Swedish Broadcasting Radio, were allowed to go in this internment camp, and Swedish Radio recorded in 43 and 44 a lot of works, and we listened in this recording Isley that plays at piano. After the war, he came back in Oman, and there he continued to be a professor of music. Only in 2000, when I met him, I discovered that his real name was Rafael Mendel Halevi.
In old Seville, there you may still play the great caballero. See one more dance, find lost romance, scented with memories dim. For when she comes down from her casa, pale roses in her hair, and then you meet her on a plaza. The night seems doubly fair, and love's with a melody sing in your heart, until with dawn first opal gleaming, romance and you must part. Remember this song when things go wrong and life seems dull and dreary. In old Seville, each night is still filled with fable light. For when she comes down from her casa, pale roses in her hair, and then you meet her on the plaza. The night seems doubly fair, and love's sweet memory sing in your heart, until with dawn first opal gleaming, romance and you must part. Three-minute stretch. The second part is much shorter. I'll have a few words to say at the very end, but our master of the music tonight is so humble that he didn't introduce himself. Francesco Lotoro has for 30 years researched music of composers that perished and survived. He's an amazing person. He has a knowledge of music, never mind only the history. I would like you to acknowledge this great. The reason this evening was brought together, I'll tell you in a minute, but because of my connection to this whole era, I want to talk for 1 second about why the committee decided to do this evening. I want to talk to you for 1 second about the lion in the pack. His name is Israel Alter. He was 21 when he came from Galicia to Vienna, and in 24 he became a state position in Hanover, and he was 24, and he had a most Wagnerian, heroic, stentorian tenor. 1931 he sang in Carnegie Hall. He's the last link of the golden age of Chazanut. He's an icon in the generation of our time because the Cantor's Assembly commissioned him to write from the first word of the Siddur to the end of Ne'ilah. One of my tasks when I retire is to record for the next generation. But the best thing about Israel Alter was that he was my uncle. The whole world knows. In fact, in the first 15 years of my career, my name was, hi, I'm Israel Alter's nephew. That was my name. He was a legend, maybe a little bit in his own head, but an incredible person. He was a great pedagogue, and the generation of cantors today are all imbued with his nusach and his great compositions that he wrote for the tefillot. The first composition that he taught me when I was a child is an Ani Ma'amin, which of course goes with the reason why we are here, memory. It's not the Ani Ma'amin that the world knows, it's a recitative which has everything in it because he was the master of tzimtzum, the master of condensation, of making everything small but big in its smallness. So here it is, Ani Ma'amin by Israel Alter. אני מאמין באמונה שלמה, אני מאמין אני באמונה שלמה בביאה והמשיח בביאת המשיח מאמין אני מאמין ואף על פי שיתמהמה מאמין אני מאמין אני מאמין באמונה של אמו בביאת המשיח אף על פי שיתמהמה אף על פי שיתמהמה אף על פי שיתמהמה הנה כל זה הנה כל זה אחכה לו בכל יום אחכה לו בכל יום עם כל זה אחכה לו בכל יום שיבוא אני מאמין באמונה שלמה אני מאמין באמונה שלמה אני מאמין
Now, Elegia by Arturo Coppola, written is not exactly in a Stalag 10A, Zandbostel. Arturo Coppola was born in Sorrento. He graduated in violin in the Conservatorio San Pietro Maiella in Napoli, but he was sent to Treviso for compulsory army service. And after the army, he remained in Treviso. There he graduated in violin, band arrangement and composition in Conservatorium Benedetto Marcello in Venice. As an Italian lieutenant, he was arrested by German troops after the armistice between Allies and Italy of September 843, and sent from Alessandria, the headquarters of Alessandria, to Beniaminovo, Stalag 333, and after in Zandbostel. There he became a close friend of the famous Italian writer and journalist Giovannino Guareschi, and they wrote a humoristic choir and orchestra work, Dai Dai Beppin, Come, Come, Bepin. Bepin is the funny name of Joseph Stalin. Polka Mercatal, a great work for male choir, little orchestra with 2 clarinet in the orchestra, and the speaker, La Favola di Natale, a Christmas tale. And this elegia. This elegia was right in memory, remembrance of Vincenzo Romeo. Vincenzo Romeo was a lieutenant that one day after the service of the day in the bathroom was shot and killed by a German, a guardian. So Vincenzo Romeo was very famous among the group of the lieutenants. It was a great tragedy for the Italian internees in that camp. He was eventually transferred in Witzendorf. He was liberated, but he came back in Italy in September 45. He retired. He continued to teach music in a secondary school and to play jazz in a piano bar. now Ben Imaginer will sing Die Hirsch mein Herz. This melody is what I am unknown author, but it was remembered by heart by Jacques Garfein. Jacques Garfein, Jacob Garfein, he was a Ruthenian Jew. As a very young man, he was arrested with all family and sent to Birkenau. In Birkenau, he told to Mengele to be 16 years old instead that 13. So thanks to this camouflage, he was sent to a great forced labor in Merzbachtal in Upper Silesia, where Nazi Germany, was building a great underground city. One day happened that German soldiers come to these young people, Polish Jews, Polish people and Ruthenian, and told to them 612 of you are very lucky because tomorrow will be sent in Great Britain for an exchange of prisoners. The day after, all these young men were sent to the trucks, but at the end of the operation, 615 were charged, 3 more. So German troops asked to 3 of them to go back. It was a very embarrassing situation, and the first that go back was Jacques Garfein and other 2. The reality was that 612 young people were sent to gas chambers in Birkenau. This was a camouflage to avoid revolts. Jacques Garfein was eventually sent in Bergen-Belsen after the evacuation of all the camp in Poland. And in Bergen-Belsen, he lost the use of the legs. When Swedish Red Cross arrived to Bergen-Belsen, discovered this young boy and sent him to Malmö. There he was rehabilitated, and in 46 he emigrated in USA, thanks to a grant from a great Jewish philanthropic society. He studied as an actor. He was the producer of Ben Gazzara, Arthur Miller. He was the husband of Nora Baker. And still today he's 91. He teaches recitation. And 4 months ago, he married for the third time with a lady of 35 years old. This melody is created because during the operation of charging, he listened a Polish young that cried and sang this melody. Really, he listened to this melody some days before, so he recognized both the melody and the Polish man, and he memorized this melody for 70 years. He never sang this melody. It was as a secret of the art. Some years ago, 5 years ago, he read of the newspaper US Today about my research, so he called to me and come in Barletta, in my city in southern Italy, and he dictated this melody to me.
Sie ist mein Herz, kein Herz von kein Menschen. Sie hab ich recht, ja zu leben oder nein. In Farvos kommt mir nicht, von mein Leben zu genießen, als mein Jugend soll abgehen. Und jammer dick und wisst, sie ist mein Herz, kein Herz von kein Menschen, sie hab ich recht, ja zu leben oder nein. In van Vos kommt mir nicht, von mein Leben zu genießen, als meine Jugend soll weggehen. Und jammer dick und wisst. I always like to finish with music rather than words because whatever I have to say is superfluous. But an evening like this cannot be arranged without many, many loving people. Just very simple to thank the celebration committee, all the people that work behind the scenes, which I don't even know who they are. They'll tell me one day. But Helena Fine and Susan Cohen, what can I tell you? The musicians, of course, Moshe Hammer played for me, for us, for 40 years, Kol Nidre, every year. Every year, we have the pleasure of hearing him. I don't know if he's still here. And Igor, this cellist, I'm so lucky because I cannot hear the high notes. I don't have the violin, but the cello I can hear. And my new close friend, Francesco. And the person that is behind it actually is Antonio. Where you are, Antonio? Antonio. You heard me say before that music lives where words do not reach. But after seeing the visual art of a living memory, it touched my heart just as much as music does. Beth Rohr and Eva Ormert, you are unbelievable. And my dear, not old, but from olden days, when we were young and beautiful, she is still beautiful, Renee Buteau sang with us many times. And of course, Igor, our great pianist here. And the idea of having the children do Wunderbar is unbelievable. It just, to have the Leo back and all the children that they gathered and the alumni, and even my daughter sang. But the most important, I want to tell you now, Acharon Chaviv, behind every man there's a successful woman. And this is my wife, Hope, not because she stood behind me all the time, but she was Savta Hope, who insisted that all our 6 grandchildren are singing in the chorus tonight. Because if I would have asked them, they would not have come. עוד חזון למועד. There's still more to come this year and beyond this year, because Holy Blossom is my home, my family's home, and I wanted to finish, and so before we go, of course, I thank for everybody that came tonight and honored the occasion, never mind myself. There's a living memory, really, absolutely, I'm speechless, but I wanted to finish with an upbeat song that my uncle Israel Alter wrote, because he comes from a very Hasidic family. We are descendants of Belz Hasidim. And the entire being of Israel Alter was, besides being the glorious West European Chazan, who sang the great oratorio, Mendelssohnian repertoire of Jewish music, but in his heart, he was Rebbe Israel. And Chasdei Hashem Kilo Tamu. After this song, there won't be any words anymore. There are some cookies out there. And for us to mingle with the Chasdei Hashem Kilo Tamu. Chasdei Hashem, the mercy of the Lord has not ceased yet. Kilo Chalu Rachamav, because his mercy has not left us. Chasdei Hashem, ki lo tamenu, ki lo chalu rachamav. Chasdei Hashem, ki lo tamenu, ki lo chalu rachamav. Chasdei Hashem, ki lo samnu, ki lo chalu rachamav. Chasdei Hashem, ki lo samnu, ki lo chalu rachamav. Chasdei Hashem, ki lo samenu, ki lo chalu rachamav. Oy chasdei Hashem, ki lo samenu, ki lo chalu rachamav. Chasdei Hashem, ki lo samenu, ki lo chalu rachamav. Chasdei Hashem, ki lo samenu, ki lo chalu rachamav. Chasdei Hashem, ki lo samenu, ki lo chalu rachamav. Chasdei Hashem, ki lo tamenu, ki lo chalu rachamav. Chasdei Hashem, ki lo tamenu, ki lo chalu rachamav. Chasdei Hashem, ki lo tamenu, ki lo chalu rachamav. I didn't take the repeat of it.